In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the strongest reactor in Create. And as you can see, the reactor can power a lot of things at a very high speed. And you may be asking, well, how powerful even is it? And let me tell you, the fact that it has 2.5 million stress units is absolutely insane to me. Just the pure fact that this thing has enough power to, spin these as fast as I can possibly get them is absolutely nuts. And each one is generating 4.5 thousand FE per tick, except these two down here, which is only, 2000 FE off, but that's because I had to slow it down using a speed controller because it was just a little bit too much for it to handle. And just for comparison of how crazy this is, I'm going to make a fully upgraded steam engine and I'm going to show you what that gives you. Alright, so here's the full steam boiler, and you can see it's making almost 300,000 stress units, but that is nothing compared to 2.5 million. And you may be asking, well, why should I build the reactor when I could just build the steam engine? Well, that's the thing. This is early game. This is incredibly expensive and difficult to make, let alone the fuel for it. So to get started, you're going to need some reactor casing, and you can just go ahead and build a 5x5. So once you have your 5x5, whichever side you're going to be pulling power out of needs to have the reactor output, and then build up the corners. Then you get some reactor frames, and this is where the fun part comes in. And if you break these, don't worry, they're not radioactive or anything. One thing I forgot to mention is that this thing is 7 blocks tall. So once you've built up the reactor frames 5 blocks tall, you can just go ahead and fill in the top here. Now, once you get back to the front of it, or should I say the output side, this is where it gets important. So you're going to put in a reactor controller and a couple more reactor frames on top. And congratulations, you have the frame of it done. Now it's time to work on the inside. So the core is going to go right in the middle all the way up to the top. So now that you have the reactor core in, on every corner, you're going to build up with the reactor coolers. And now that you have that done, what you're going to do is do the reactor casings on the insides. And one last thing before you fill in the top, if you go to the back of the reactor, you need to have an input. So you can just break one of these, put this right here, and you're all set after you add a hopper. So now that everything is done, it's time to fill in these gaps here with more reactor casing. Alright, so all of these sides are filled in, and now it's time to fill in the top. And you can see it says that the reactor has been assembled. So now it's time for the next part. You can't turn this on just by itself. So let's go ahead and grab some graphite and uranium rods. Alright, so once you have those and you're back at the hopper, you can just put in 2 stacks of graphite and 2 stacks of uranium. Now make sure that you do keep one each of these. You can just put them in here afterwards. So once you got all that stuff started, before you actually start it up, you need a blueprint for the reactor. So once you've made the reactor blueprint, all you have to do is right click, and I have found out that this pattern right here is by far the best way that you can, adjust these things with the fuel rods and stuff. And be very careful with this number, because if I put one more uranium rod in here to make this thing like, a full symmetrical shape, it will explode. So last thing to do is right click on that reactor controller, and you can see now it's running. So go ahead and get yourself a pair of engineer goggles, and you can see the heat value says warning. If you go over 1000 Q, it will explode. And I'm going to show you guys what happens if you add one more rod to it. Alright, and now you can see it says danger. It is at 1032 Q and it's still going up. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. That will shut off the reactor, remove one of these, put it back in, and now it's just back to warning. So this is by far the highest I was able to get this number without it exploding. 2,519,040 stress units is the capacity of this, and it's just absolutely nuts. But yeah, in all, that is all I wanted to show you guys, because I had seen a couple of videos on it, and it was really outdated to where even if it was just above 200 Q, it would explode. So it's definitely a lot more optimized now for, all the stuff that you want to do with it. Oh, wait a minute, we can't have a showcase without it exploding now, can we? didn't we? All right, let me go ahead and adjust this real quick. Let's go ahead and fill all of this out like I did the first time, which was very bad. And there we go. Let's see, what is it at? It's at 1,890 Q. All right, well, let's go ahead and back up a little bit because it is very, very loud for me. I'm also not sure exactly what number it explodes at, but I believe it's around 2,000. And the longer it's on, the quicker the heat goes up. All right, so that was the explosion. Now, oh wow, it even tells me that it's been disassembled. Yeah, that would be very, very nice to know, you know, if you were across the map or something. But one thing that I am a little sad about is that it doesn't release any radiation or anything like that like the classic Create New Age reactor. After all, this is just an add-on. So there is definitely some improvements that can be made, because I want it to look like this. Just with a lot of radiation. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and tell me if there are any stronger reactors out there that I need to know of. Bye!